Welcome everybody to our monthly Sporecyte webinar. We'll jump right in, and then as people join, they'll just be able to join. A couple things to start off. We will be taking questions. So anytime you have a question, just put it in the chat window, and then when we get to a point where we can answer that question, we'll just break into what we're doing and we'll answer that question. So put those in there. We like getting questions, so don't hold back. Today, we're really lucky to have the marketing department for Sporecyte and TechCite. So the whole company, we're going to have our marketing department do that. So they're experts at amplifying your mold inspection business. So we're going to be talking about leveraging social media, getting referrals, and other types of technology. So the presenters today, as you can see the topics, a little bit about Sporecyte, all those kinds of things, but we'll get into those. So our presenters are Troy Bankhead. He's our VP of marketing. He has over 20 years of experience, and I have to say, having worked with him now for 4 years, he's a pro. He's also the master of about everything. I mean, not just marketing, but cooking. I think he's been to chef school in France. I know he's a skydiver. He went night dive skydiving. I don't know if they landed in the ocean for that and did a night scuba dive, but with Troy, you never know. Always some pretty interesting things going on. Ashley is our marketing specialist. We work super closely with her, and she keeps us on track and organized with all our marketing materials. So as you can see, she's got over 9 years of experience, and they are both, I can say, excellent at their jobs and just great to work with. So we've talked about this before, but some of you who are on here may not be completely aware of Sporecyte. So Sporecyte's part of a bigger company, and that bigger company is called TechCite. So TechCite was founded in 2013. It was a company. The idea started as an incubator at the University of Utah with another big reference lab, and then we turned it into this big company. So we are literally world leaders in machine learning, artificial intelligence, using computer vision to scan and recognize images and turn those into the algorithms. Because the things that we're looking at, particulate matter in the air and mold in the air, those are tiny. So we look at those on the microscopic level. So we have to use digital microscopes and turn those images into digits to allow the software to analyze them. So the things that we focus on as a company, again, is, for the environmental side, air analysis. We also do surface sampling for Sporecyte. We do liquids such as blood, things like that. Smearable things could be like fine needle aspirate, fecal matter, things like that. So we also do dermatology, bacteriology, bacteria tests, lots and lots of things. And we're developing new diagnostic analysis tests every day. So our products are used all over the world now by laboratories, pathologists, doctors, veterinarians, and in our specific case, home and building inspectors. So we talked about three verticals, or the bigger company, TechCite. So here's the three verticals. So Sporecyte, as you are all familiar, is our environmental analysis arm. Human analysis is under the banner of TechCite, and we have a collaboration partner with Mayo Clinic, who you're all probably familiar with. If you ever get sick and you want some place to go find out how to get healthy or what you've got, Mayo Clinic would be, on your short list, your top probably few or one place to go. So we do have an agreement with those guys. They use our products, and we are developing new tests and analysis with them. Finally, we do animal, both companion animals and working animals. So we have a single partner that does global distribution for us. So throughout the world, we are all over the world now, even in China, all through Europe, everywhere. And Zoetis is our partner there, and the product is VetScan Images. So they market and support that product, and we just white label our analysis to them. Let's see. So some people have asked, and it's important to know, what are our laboratory credentials? So first of all, our lab director, Dylan McIntosh, is a certified PAACB spore analyst. So that's the Pan American, I would forget it. Anyway, biology. So he can identify all the, what makes mold grow, where's it growing, what's the species, and identify all those things. There are literally only a handful of people in the world that have this credential. So it really is a pretty big deal. We do right now participate in the AIHA MLAP mold identification, spore identification, and we are working on getting the full MLAP accreditation. Also in Texas is the only lab in the country, in the United States, that requires a specific license to do mold analysis. And we do have that. That's a pretty rigorous process, and we do have that license. The final thing that I would mention, we don't have it here, but we are ISO certified. So the ISO certification that we fall under is 13485, which, because we do human testing, for the human side of things, we need an ISO certification that is considered a medical device. So because we're associated with all under the same banner of TechCite, we need to follow those guidelines. So if you hear us talking about we only do specific things, or we want like an outdoor sample, in our ISO guidelines, we're specific that we're doing things that we need to be doing to maintain our certification. So anybody can reach out to me or, ask a question if they have a question on that. So the final comment I'll make, you guys have probably all heard me talk about, as we develop this product, our goal, it sounds totally goofy and hokey, but I really like it, is how do we make inspectors' lives better? So, providing quick, accurate, consistent, and affordable mold tests. We want to have the absolute best report in the industry. And by having a report that's quick and easy for your clients to read, that makes your life better and their life better. So the goal there is they can understand things quickly, and you don't need to, figure out what that report means. The typical matrix report you get, most people have no idea what that really means. We are also continuously innovating. As I've mentioned before, we are working on our digital chain of custody. I think that we'll have that within, certainly within the next 2 months, hopefully in the month and a half. Next, we'll update some other things, our report, things like that. Finally, we want to provide the best product in the industry, which is, great service. So with that, I will turn the time over to Troy Bankhead, our VP of Marketing.
Thanks, Jim. I really appreciate that. And hello to all of our attendees today. So today I'm going to start off our discussion on how you can amplify your mold inspection business by talking about referrals. And it's the first topic because this is one of the most powerful tools that you have at your disposal for getting the absolute best kinds of leads, which are the ones who are recommended by your friends and family. And so some of these principles you might know already, but it's worth repeating. As you know, you come into the homeowners' lives during an intense moment of them changing homes. And so if your demeanor with them adds to their stress or is off-putting, well, they're going to remember that and they'll spread the word, especially with social media today. Likewise, real estate agents are only paid when deals close. And so if you create anxiety in a buyer about the home over a fixable item that's not critical or obvious, then, well, that broker isn't going to call you again, and they will let everyone know what happened. And it's things like, switches that go nowhere, GFCIs, the odd loose wire here and there, open junction boxes, stubbed pipes, dead outlets. Those aren't really big deals and are kind of part and parcel to used houses and can be easily fixed. Serious issues like rotten joists, missing roof tiles, lack of joist supports, water, hidden mold, those kind of things should be indicated and warrant further inspection from a contractor or engineer. And so many things are fixable in one form or another, and it's usually negotiation on the cost. And so sellers might not know that they can fix these things and are often willing to help. And so as home inspectors, making sure that you are partnering with both your agents in making sure the deal goes through and doing everything that you can to help that happen, but also the client, who is the home buyer, and even doing things such as pre-listing inspections, which are powerful tools that typically cost like less than 1% of a home's value, which means that the agent will get better offers with a home inspection attached to it. They'll be able to avoid unexpected repairs, which keeps the power in their favor during the negotiations and a reputation boost for you. All of these things set the stage for you being able to get referrals. Now, the first area that you can get referrals from are directly from the buyers and sellers. And this is it can be an easy thing to put into place, either on your website or through things like sending your clients direct emails after every one of your jobs that go well, asking them for referrals, and posting on social media about your referral program. Now, I mentioned a referral program, and that can be as simple as on your website, incorporating coupon codes that give someone a discount for referring a friend. It can also mean a future job or some other item that you offer them. The second area for referrals is to your secondary customers, which are your agents and the brokers. And for this one, it spans a bit beyond just the referral program. It also means establishing and maintaining relationships with them. It means getting your marketing materials in order, paying ad hoc visits to the prominent agencies in your area, meeting them face to face. There are anecdotal stories of home inspectors holding networking lunches with agents where they gather them together. Now, if you don't have the resources or the time to do that, that's absolutely fine. But dropping your marketing material everywhere, which must include your socials and your website, is very powerful for getting referrals. And the referrals are obviously contingent on, first of all, delighting your customers, and Ashley's going to talk to that later. Second of all, incentivizing them, whether it be a like for a like on social media, and then nurturing those subsequent contacts. The next area that we have in our toolkit, which is still today very powerful, is our website. Now, I'm not going to bore you with details on the basics of website construction, because honestly, in researching and helping our customers at Sporecyte, and even for this podcast, home inspectors got pretty good websites in general. And so what I'd like to do today is concentrate on some of these elements that will have a direct impact on lead generation. First of all, the percentages of web traffic that happen on mobile devices, especially for home inspectors, is huge. And so your website must be mobile friendly, and it's got to be fast loading. It's also a good idea. Most websites are using frameworks today like Wix, Square, WordPress, and so creating landing pages is very quick and easy to do, so that your ads and things that Ashley's going to get into a bit later can point to landing pages on your website, which are kind of the reward at the end of the action of clicking. You really need to pay attention as well to search engine optimization. I can't stress the importance of this, because most of leads still come from just simple Google searches. Keeping in mind that your customers are coming into your lives, or you're rather coming into their lives, very punctually. They need to find you. It's either going to be a referral or a straight Google search. And so making sure that the keywords that you want to be found on are all over in your website, strategically placed on the pages, in headers, section headers, in the copy, and easily searchable by Google's robots. Another aspect of your website needs to be, we're not looking for blogs. You're not necessarily on your website looking for that renewable content. It's not like your local newspaper where people log in every day to read the news. Again, they're coming to you when they're selling or buying a home. So you're going to want your website to use intuitive navigation, universally adopted conventions, and focus on key information. And that key information needs to be organized throughout your website, not just as links going left and right, but you need to guide your visitors. Like start with, these are the reasons to hire me. Link going to my qualifications, to a link that says what my inspections include, ending with, this is my promise to you, and the call to action. Calls to action are the conversion tool of your website. The call to action is you want them to do something, either schedule a demo, place a phone call with you. You might have a piece of content that they can download from you. Those call to action are really your key to getting those leads. Outside of your website, though, there are other things that you can and need to be aware of that have an impact on how people learn about you. And that's the sites like Yelp, MapQuest, and other things like that, that you show up on their sites as either registered businesses because they crawl your website, or you actually create instances of your company in their service. And it's definitely worth spending the time to curate and make sure that your information is represented accurately there. The last element that I'd like to talk to you about today is technology. Taking advantage of technology. And this is where specifically Sporecyte comes in and can and does help. Because humans are really good at critical thinking. We make visual and data associations better than computers, but computers are better at accuracy and consistency. They can process everything in an image, whereas we get tired, and you combine the two and what you come up with is more accurate, more consistent, and faster results. And that's exactly what we do. Before Sporecyte came along, the traditional approach to mold testing in laboratories was having a human or a mycologist look through a microscope and analyze slides. But it takes too long and it's too costly for them to be able to read an entire trace. So you could have Stachybotrys, you could have other organisms that they simply missed because they can't look at the entire slide. The other thing is inter and intra-operator variability, because humans don't read the same things, and so you get inconsistent results. But with AI, it doesn't get tired. It's consistent across every sample, and if you feed it the same sample days or weeks later, it's going to give you the same result. It's able to find more, and at Sporecyte, we still take the extra step of we still take the extra step of having a human review all of our samples. And that's where the next element comes in, which are our reports. They're the best in the industry. One of the common feedbacks that we get from people is that they would like to do mold testing, but can't because the reports they get back are too hard to interpret, aren't intuitive, or they just can't navigate them. Our reports contain an at-a-glance page, which shows really easily for your customers to understand what the AI has found. And it even includes recommendations with links to resources. If they want to go a step further, we actually show the data from the lab, but it's not necessary because the at-a-glance page exists. We even have an anecdotal story that Ashley's going to share later of a home inspector who uses our service that was actually called into court to present a litigation where she had done a mold test and found mold. And she was nervous that she was going to have to testify and get run through the ringer and everything. She didn't even have to because the reports were so clear. And then the third element that our reports include are the actual images of what's found in people's air. And that's a very impactful thing where people can see what we found with the tests that you run with them. And lastly, we are able to give them recommendations, initial guidance, because ultimately the goal of this report is to protect the buyer and their investment. And our website contains resources that then further answers the question, well, okay, I've got this report, what do I do now? And what that does most importantly is that if issues are found, buyers and sellers can both find ways to fix the problem and close the deal. So these are a few ways that you can amplify your mold inspection business, or if you're not getting into it yet, actually add that to your arsenal of tools that you provide and create better and more qualified leads. I'd like to turn it over to Ashley now, because she's going to talk to us about social media. So take it away, Ashley.
Thanks, Troy. Yeah, so I'm going to be discussing social media and Google for your business. So I wanted to first get started by asking just a quick question. So basically, we just want to hear how many of you guys are already doing social media and who's not doing social media. So I'll give you a quick minute to answer that. And while you're answering that, I just wanted to go over this little graphic here. So this is talking about the most popular social media sites in the US. Now this isn't specific to home inspectors, it's just kind of an overarching based on like downloads and usage. So you can kind of see the top 3 are Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We won't really count Facebook Messenger on its own because it's part of Facebook as well. So those are the 3 that we're really going to be focusing on today. As you can see, there's other options like TikTok and Pinterest and LinkedIn that you could venture into if you want, but for the sake of today, we're just going to be talking about those top 3. Okay, so looks like our poll results are in. So we have 75% of the audience is already doing social media and 25% is not. So that's great to hear. And whether you are doing social media or not, there's going to be lots of information in this webinar that will be helpful to you and your business. Okay, so let's get into why you might want to use social media for your business. Like, what are the benefits? So we've outlined 6 here. So attract new leads, boost sales, get customer feedback through reviews, comments, and tagged posts, to build customer loyalty, get referrals, as Troy mentioned earlier, and become a thought leader. So we're going to dive into each of these just briefly. So attract new leads. So there are several ways to use social media to attract new leads. You can do it organically, so no money behind it, or you can do it through paid advertising. The younger generation might look to social media to help them make decisions. So they might use Facebook or another platform to search for a home inspector instead of going directly to Google. You can also get leads if you're posting regularly and one of your old customers or clients can see your posts and think about a friend or family member who would need a home inspector at that specific time. In this picture here, we have what an ad might look like to generate a new lead. So this is using Facebook Messenger. So you can see the call to action is send a message. To send them, you can set this up in 2 different ways. You can send it so they just send a message to you and you can start the conversation right away, or you can set it up that like a chat bot will ask them a few different questions, maybe like where they're located and what services they'd like to get done. And then you as a home inspector can take over the conversation from there. The next one is to boost sales. So this slide and the last slide are very similar. So naturally, as you get new leads, you're going to get new sales. And this is an app. This is for you to see like how you can set it up to just get jobs right away. So they've set up a calendar where they can just go in and book the appointment right away. So you could set this up for your inspection business to just book an inspection right away. You can also use it to direct customers to your website or to set up a phone call. The next way you might use social media is to get customer feedback. So customer feedback can be good or negative. Good feedback can help you as an inspector feel more confident or let your bosses know that you're doing well. It can also highlight areas of strength that you can promote your business. But as I'm sure you're aware, negative feedback is inevitable. No matter how good you are or how good of an experience you offer, somebody is probably going to have a negative experience. But it's really how you respond to these negative comments that's going to make a big difference. So make sure you keep positive. Don't be offensive or offended because that really shows a lot about your business, how you respond. So this example here. Oh,
sorry, Ash, we had a question, so I thought I'd jump in. You might be getting.
Yeah, go ahead.
The question is there an optimal number of words to use, and is it best to use an image?
So it kind of depends. I think an image is really important. You don't want to use too many words because in this day and age, there's a lot of people just scroll past. So an image is really going to catch people's attention. And then people probably aren't going to read a long paragraph. So you want to keep it short. If you have a lot of information, you want to make sure you're breaking it up with, line breaks and things like that. But I do think using an image is super important, and just making sure you keep your title and heading and everything pretty short. Okay, so going back to this slide about getting customer feedback. So this is a good example from Maria and her team at ProCheck Inspections. They got some positive feedback. This person is saying that Maria and her team were prompt in their scheduling, that their cost was reasonable, and their results were almost immediate. So she can take this feedback and use it in her business different ways to promote their services, or just to, as a pat on the back to make yourself feel great about what you're doing. This next example is an example of negative feedback. So this person is giving some recommendations to Starbucks based on an experience they had. And as you can see here, Starbucks responded in a positive way. They said, "Thank you for your feedback. We really appreciate it." And so this extra touch point that they had with this customer is going to make that customer's negative experience positive, because they feel like Starbucks is really listening to them. So the next way you can use social media is to build customer loyalty. So this is another example from Maria and her team at ProCheck Inspections. They got this nice review, and simply just taking the time to thank this person for their review can go a long way. So like it says here, the next time Gina needs an inspection, even if it's several years from now, this additional touch point could be the reason why she uses ProCheck Inspections again, or maybe for the more immediate future, when Gina's mom or a family member or friend is looking to buy a house in the same area, who do you think she'll recommend for a home inspector? She'll probably call Maria and her team again based on the positive experience she had at the inspection, and then this additional touch point. Let's see, I think we have
Quick question, and I think,
okay.
I don't know if you really covered it, but so it was like, should we always respond with a comment to, it says both positive and negative. So I think it's, whether it's a positive or a negative comment, should the inspector respond and like, "Hey, thank you for that," like Maria did in this one?
Yeah, I definitely think whether it's positive or negative, you should take the time to respond. The customer took the time to respond to give you some feedback, or to tell you what you could do better. And I think, especially for me as a consumer, when I'm looking at something that like I want to purchase, sometimes I'll go to the negative reviews just to see what might go wrong, and then how the business reacts. So if I see a negative comment and the business hasn't responded, that could look negative to me as a consumer. And then also based on how the company responds says a lot about the company. If you're responding and keeping the negative vibes going, then I probably don't want to work with you. But if you're trying to make the situation better, trying to keep things positive, then I'll probably look past that one negative review. Thanks for that question, Jim. Okay, so now we're going to move on to referrals. Again, I know Troy touched on this in the beginning, but this is just kind of how we can use social media to get referrals. So when you focus on building customer loyalty and relationships, it can really pay off in other ways. So when your brand is in front of these loyal customers, they will naturally tell people about you because you've given them a good experience in the past and you've engaged with them on several other accounts. And now you're providing them with valuable information. So as you can see here, I have two examples. They're from two separate posts. They're not inspector related, but you can see when these people, when they saw a brand that they liked and trusted, they were super open to telling their friends and family about it and encouraging them to get the product as well. So the final reason why you want to use social media is to become a thought leader. So this is a great post here from Jared Fenn and his team at Pillar to Post. So this post addresses a question that people have. Do I need a mold test? And as a home buyer, before I started working for Sporecyte, I would not have known I needed a mold test. That wasn't a service offered to me by my home inspector. And for me as a homeowner, I had no reason, from what my knowledge was, why I would need a mold test. There were no visible signs of mold in the house, and the home was newer. But Jared and his team is using social media to share this valuable information with customers, while also highlighting a service they offer. So this can be good for you to share with homeowners even after they purchase their home, because you're still providing them with information that's really important to something. Their home is a really important purchase. They're going to want to find other ways to take care of it. And you as a home inspector know a lot about that even after the inspection's done. So we've talked about why you should be using social media, but you're probably still wondering how to actually use it. So that's kind of what we're going to cover in this section. We won't only go into every detail of how to set it up, but we will include a help doc after this webinar is over. They'll have links to good articles that can kind of help you through the step-by-step process of setting up your social media pages. So what is the purpose of social media? Social media is a place to share information, tell stories, and show your personality. When you're thinking of what to post, put yourself in the mind of a home buyer or homeowner. What are they going to get from this? How is this going to be helpful for them? And then you'll be able to create content that's really valuable. So when it comes to social media, it's really important to post regularly to maintain your social media pages. So we've put together a list of some ideas of what you might post. You can educate your audience. You can post stories related to mold tests you performed or things that you found during your inspections. You can provide tips to homeowners. You can do walkthrough videos showing what you look for during an inspection and how a homeowner might be able to identify it as well. Explain what not to do in home DIY projects. Share videos of you talking about a hot topic, or you can share what you're reading from industry leaders like Internachi, Ashi, or even the Sporecyte blogs. And be sure when you're posting to use hashtags. They really help people find your posts. So this is a great example, this post right here. So this company, they've posed the question, did you know that mold can grow in a home regardless of how clean it is? So they've identified a question that they've been asked, they've answered the question, they've let customers know they can fix the problem, and they've added relevant hashtags and a nice image. So when you're just getting started on social media, I would suggest maybe putting together some type of loose calendar and having a goal to maybe post twice a week. You can kind of figure out what what you're capable of with your schedule. In the summer, it might be, once a week, or and then in the winter, you might think about posting more often. So once you have your goal of how many posts you want to do in a week, you think about like what you want to post. So you might have one post that's focused on something that you saw on the job, and the other is maybe what you're reading. And then you can set that goal, and every week you do those two post types. And then once you get more comfortable with it, you can expand your content and post more often. Like really, once you get in the groove of it, you'll be in an inspection and you'll think, oh, I can make a quick post about this, and it'll become more natural and easy. And then your content will really just take off from there. So another thing to keep in mind when using social media is to use good images and engage with your audience, and look for ways to grow your page. So pictures go a long way of showing your credibility. Our smartphone cameras are so good these days, you can really just be on the job, snap a quick picture or video, and put it on social media. You can also use free stock images or a free tool like Canva to create graphics. As you can see here, this is an example from Canva. They already have templates ready to go for Facebook, Instagram, any social media page you want to use. You can also do like posters and stuff for your other marketing efforts. But they have templates. You can just put in your text and your images. And now with AI, they've really expanded what you can do. You can just kind of give them some prompts, and their AI will create a post for you. So it's become really easy, really simple. Next, you want to make sure that you're engaging with your customers. So one way to do that is to continue to build your audience. So you can ask your personal Facebook friends to like your page, And I've even seen another way to grow it is to ask people at the end of an inspection or whatever service you provide, say, hey, if you like my Facebook page or give us a review, we'll give you 5% off your service today, or a certain dollar amount, whatever you choose, whatever you're comfortable with. So that can be a good tool to help you grow your page. And then as Troy mentioned earlier, you can also check in with other inspectors, brokers, and agents and do something like a like for a like. So I'll like your page and you can like, and if you like mine. And then you always want to make sure that you're engaging with your customers by responding to comments on your posts or reviews. It's really important to take the time to say thank you when they've taken the time out of their day to write something about you and your company. So now we're going to get into how we can actually use these various platforms. So we'll give you a quick guide for Facebook, since it's the most popular platform. In the doc app that you'll receive later, it'll have setup guides for not only Facebook, but Instagram and TikTok. So with Facebook, first thing you want to do is create an actual business page. This is separate from like a personal page. With a business page, you get a lot more resources to build your business. So you can just navigate to pages and then create a new page. And then with your page, you want to make sure you're keeping your information up to date. There's really nothing worse than a customer coming to your page, finding you on Facebook, and then clicking on the website only to find the link broken, or trying to give you a call and the number is no longer in service, or it directs them to a different company. So you want to make sure you're constantly maintaining that. Next, you want to make sure that your page is presentable. So when you're setting up your profile, make sure you choose a good cover photo and profile picture. So here's a good example from the home inspection company. For their cover photo, they've used a high quality logo and included their ASHI certification. And then for their profile picture, they've included a nice image of themselves. This is another example. So this company opted for a high quality graphic for their cover photo and then use their logo for their profile picture. And I know I keep saying high quality, high resolution images and logos, but it's really so important nowadays because our resolution is so much higher on our phones, and having a low resolution image can really impact your credibility as a company. You can also use your Facebook to collect reviews. So if you just navigate to the reviews tab, you can copy the URL, which should look something like what I have up here, but with your page name instead of Sporecyte's. And once you've got this link, you can use it in emails or text messages after an inspection, or you can create a QR code for physical items like brochures or even a receipt that you give to a customer after an inspection, that they can leave you a review as well. I would just make sure when you're using like a QR code, you just make sure you pick the right company that you're using, because a lot of the free ones are going to expire within a certain amount of time unless you pay for them. But there are free services out there that have QR codes that don't expire. So just make sure you're picking the right company. So now we're going to get into paid social media advertising. So this might seem a bit more like complicated, but I'd like you to think of paid advertising as just adding on a new service that you're offering as a home inspector. Think of it maybe like mold testing. When you decided to do mold testing, you probably had a lot of questions and you had a lot to learn. And that's the same thing here. You probably have a lot of questions. You may be overwhelmed by, all there is to learn. But like you were able to do with, a new service like mold testing, you've been able to implement it into your business, and you'll be a pro within no time. And we'll be here to kind of help you in this webinar with some questions you might have. And as I mentioned, there will be a help doc coming after. So, and something I just wanted to point out for you as a business, your success is in the best interest of Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, or whatever platform they choose. They really want their advertisers to have a good experience. They want them to be happy and continue to create new ads, because that's how they make money. So, and most sites, especially I know with Facebook, once you set up your advertising account, you'll be able to schedule a call with your account rep, and they'll walk you through the platform They can help you with your ads, tell you best practices, give you some recommendations for changes, really help you try to get the most bang for your buck. And there's a lot of resources out there. So Google can be your friend. If you have questions, there's just a lot of information out there to help you. Oh, let's go back real quick. So when you're thinking about social media advertising, you first want to create your copy. So, oh, Jim, do you have a question?
Button. So then you get
Okay.
started, try and hit when there's a break. So the question is, I don't do social media now, so not sure I will be able to get out 2 times per week. How important is consistency on a certain date and maybe once per month? So do they need to do it like twice a week or once a week? Or would once a month be enough? Or for somebody just getting started, like?
Yeah, so I think it's important to make sure you're posting regularly, because when people come to your Facebook page, they want to see that it's being active, that it's active, that you're updating the page. So I think you need to find out what feels comfortable to you. If that's once a month in the beginning, probably not as good as doing it like once a week or once every other week or multiple times a week. But when you're just getting started, you can kind of fill out what's best for you. And just work based off your schedule. Maybe during the summer, like you mentioned, it might be harder to do every week. So maybe you limit it to every other week. And then when things start to slow down with inspections in the winter, you can post more often. And then as the summer rolls around for next year, you'll just be a lot more confident and already in your groove of posting. So you'll be able to keep up with that pattern. Okay. Sorry, I thought we had one more question. So when you're thinking about the ads you want to use, you want to think about your ad copy. So the question that was talked about earlier is how long. You want to keep it pretty short. So you just want to think about in a sentence or two why somebody should choose you as their home inspector. And then you want to make sure you're using a good call to action link and then using a good image, or you can create a graphic. Next, you'll want to determine what your campaign objectives are. So lead generation, like we talked about earlier, do you want to get people's names, information connected to you through Messenger? And then the next one is reach. So getting your ad in front of the most people. Traffic is to get the most clicks on your ad. So getting the most people to your website. Engagement is really just trying to get the most likes and comments. And then brand awareness is getting your ad in front of the right people, the people that are going to remember it. And then with all of this, you want to make sure, you want to think about who you are targeting, who you want to see those ads that you're creating. So you can create custom audiences to target home buyers, homeowners, renters, or landlords, or you can target people within a specific age range, location, or based on their interests. So if you serve just a few cities, you can just target your audience to those cities. And you can say, I only want to target people who are 35 to 50 because I feel like those are the people that are going to be purchasing a home. You can also upload a customer list with emails or addresses and create an audience based off of people who are similar to your existing customers. And those audiences are called lookalike audiences. Okay, so with Facebook ads, there's 2 types of Facebook ads you can do. So you can boost an existing post or create a new post. So like I have here, this is a post from Sporecyte. And if I wanted to, I could click this blue button and boost the post and just get it in front of more people. The other example is of an ad only. This won't show up on your company's page. With these type of ads, you can be a lot more precise in who you target, your content, where the ad goes, and it just gives you a bit more control. But maybe when you're starting out, boosting a post is an easy way to just get into it. Next is Instagram. So Facebook and Instagram are both owned by Meta. Meta is formerly Facebook. So with this, you just have one platform to manage your ads. As you can see here, when you're publishing an ad, you can choose, I want it to go to the Sporecyte Facebook page, and then you could choose your Instagram account too if it's connected. And then similarly with Facebook, you can also boost or promote an existing post. And so it's kind of interesting. They're owned by the same company, but they're called different things. So in Instagram, it's called Promote. And this feature is only available to business pages. So you have to make sure you're setting up the right account. And then once you decide to promote a post, you can choose your objective if you want to get more profile views, website views, or you want to reach people in a certain area. So here I pulled two good examples of Facebook posts from Sporecyte inspectors. So the first one is sharing some helpful information about what might cause new microbial growth with a series of images. The other one is sharing information about snowpack and flooding, but through a video. And then the other one, another example is through TikTok. So when you're using TikTok, it's important to remember that your ad can be in front of a wide user base. So it can be so anybody from a teenager to a grandpa, everybody can see it. And you want to remember that videos are usually between 15 seconds and 3 minutes long. And it's a mobile-only platform, so your videos need to be mobile-friendly, so full screen with audio and video. The great thing about TikTok is you can take the video, edit it, upload it all on the platform if you want. So here are some other examples, but from TikTok of home inspector. So the first one is showing a home inspector having a conversation with the homeowner about an appliance leak and what that can mean for mold growth. In this instance, they have somebody else filming the interaction. The second is an inspector responding to another user's video about mold. They're using their expertise as a home inspector to answer a question that this person had. And they're using their front-facing camera, kind of like a selfie, to record the video. And it's important to keep in mind that with all of these, you can cross-post. So with these TikTok videos, these home inspectors could have posted them to Instagram, and they could have posted them to Facebook as well. Okay, so now it's your turn. You guys can go out there and create some good content. You can use these sites to actually find some good content and get inspired. So you can go on and search for terms like mold testing, mold inspections, home inspectors, different things like that. So we found this post with Maria because she used the hashtag Sporecyte. And if you're still not sure about it, this is a great example. So after I was doing some research for this webinar on Facebook, this is an ad that showed up on my feed about another home inspection company, actually a franchising opportunity. So I thought that was a funny thing to include here. So next we're going to get into Google for Business. So you can create a Google business profile that will appear when people search for your business, or when they search for relevant terms that your business might need. So a couple things to keep in mind with your platform, with your profile. You want to keep it up to date, just like with Facebook and your other pages. You can add pictures to tell your business story, collect customer reviews, engage with your customers who leave reviews, create posts to tell your customers about an event, deal, or product. And you can also have links to your social media pages. And you also want to make sure that you tell people what services you offer. So right here, you can see with this company, they offer 11-month warranty inspections. So somebody might search for who offers 11-month warranty inspections near me, and then this company would show up. So with your profile, as you scroll down on your profile, you can see some of the reviews that you already have, and then you can get more reviews. So you simply just click on the Get More Reviews button, And then it'll come up with a link that you can use in various ways, or you can send it directly through email, WhatsApp, or Facebook. So now we're going to talk about why Google's are so important. So Google only wants to recommend good businesses to people when they search. So it'll only pull companies with good reviews and complete profiles. So as you can see here, when I search for mold inspectors near me, these are the results that come up, and they all have two things in common. They have good reviews, a good number of reviews, and also see this offered all include mold testing or mold inspections. Reviews are also good for directing people to your website, getting customer feedback, adding another interaction point with a good customer by replying to their review, and helping you build brand trust. So we're going to briefly go into Google Ads. Setup will be in the help doc as well. So from that same search, these are the paid results that come up. So these companies have looked into Google. They created an ad that will show up for when somebody is searching for mold services near them. And as I mentioned with the other social media platforms, these sites really want you to be successful as advertisers. So there's a lot of resources to help you get started, and we'll also include those in the help doc as well. So that's it for me. Oh, I see we have one question. Okay, so someone's asking, if we only want to start with one platform, which one would you suggest? So I would probably make sure that your Google business profile is up to date, and really focus on that first, and then maybe get into Facebook. So I'm going to turn the time back over to Troy. He's going to go over some Sporecyte resources, and then I'll pop back in for the Q&A at the end. Thanks.
Ashley, thanks. That was awesome. And yeah, she's totally right. Google is where you want to start because of the far-reaching impacts of having a really good presence there. It impacts you across several areas. And in terms of social media, yeah, the demographics are right. Now, what we've done for you after this webinar, we've got several things that we put together and we maintain from the Mold Resource Center that you can refer your customers to our blog, where we've got tons of topics on there that as we move forward in time, we just keep posting their content that even you could reference to or get as inspiration. We've got marketing brochures. We've got an inspector badge that you can actually use for your own websites, as well as setup guides and help docs. Now, not set up for Sporecyte, but this particular one is just a bunch of links that we've put together for you that you can use to actually help you get started in social media and getting your business amplified. So with that, let's get Jim back on for to see if there's any more questions or answers for us.
Whoops, I double clicked the button. So I appeared and disappeared and back. So thanks you guys. That was really interesting. Like, I am one who doesn't know much about social media. So very good tutorial and learning curve for me. One thing that stood out to me was just like what the best, if you had one to pick, what would that one be? So I think for a lot of people that will be helpful. Just get one, focus on one thing, kind of nail that, and then continue. There's no more questions. Oh, let's see. There might be one more. Let me get it. It was just saying, great job, and thanks for the presentation resources. So thank you for that comment versus a question. But thanks, Ashley and Troy.
Oh, hey, Jim.
We have another one.
Okay. Yeah, and they asked if it's best to update your Google page daily, weekly, or monthly. And it's a good subtlety there because your Google page is more of it's a listing, and your listing is going to be displayed in several different ways depending on how users access it, because Google can serve up your Google page listing in a raw search from Google Maps. In other places, it can even use it behind the scenes to affect search engine rankings. And so updating it is definitely not something you have to do daily. just making sure that it's up to date and referenced correctly. It's not like a set and forget, because you should pay attention to it, especially with things like reviews. Ashley showed you how you can actually proactively go out and get those. So the core data, just make sure that if you change addresses, phone numbers, or have new information to put, that you update it.
Awesome. Okay.
So I see there's another question here. They're asking, how do we obtain the resources such as the badge? So a lot of those resources are going to be on the Sporecyte website on the Pro Resources page. So if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see the badge there. It's pretty new for us at Sporecyte. And then you'll also see the marketing brochure and the link to the Mold Resources Center.
Excellent. Any other last minute questions? Send them over now, or you can always email us, or, you know, when you're talking with Ellen or Devin and I, feel free to ask questions anytime, and then we'll run those by Trey and Ashley and get back to you. So I think that wraps it up. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you at our next webinar. And hopefully we'll talk to you in the meantime.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.